Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're doing something really cool. We're going to upgrade your thinking. We're talking about these powerful frameworks called mental models, the very tools that help the world's sharpest minds make better decisions and solve incredibly complex problems. So, have you ever wondered what makes some thinkers just exceptional? I mean, how do people like Warren Buffett, Elon Musk, or Jeff Bezos consistently navigate all this complexity and make these huge, high-stakes choices with such clarity? It's not about having a higher IQ. It's about having a better set of tools. And a lot of this thinking can be traced back to one guy, Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's legendary business partner. He had this brilliant insight. He argued that just memorizing facts is basically useless. To actually be wise, you have to organize those facts on what he called a latticework of theory. And this brings us to Munger's most famous analogy, something he called the man with only a hammer problem. You've probably heard this before. To the man with only a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. It sounds simple, right? But just think about what that means. If you only have one way of looking at the world, you'll twist and torture every single problem to fit that one perspective. And as Munger put it, that is a perfectly disastrous way to operate. Okay, so what is a mental model exactly? Let's break it down. Think of it as a tool for your brain. It's a kind of blueprint, or maybe it's like putting on a special pair of glasses that lets you see a problem more clearly. It helps you filter the signal from all the noise, giving you a map to better understand the world. All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with this core idea of a latticework for thought. Then we'll dive into some specific tools for making better decisions, tools for seeing things more clearly, and even tools for solving really tough problems. And to wrap it all up, we'll look at one master tool you can start using literally today. All right, section 1, a latticework for thought. So what does that really mean? It's all about why you can't just have one trick up your sleeve. You need a full mental toolbox. Okay, let's move on. Section 2, tools for better decisions. Now that we've got the idea of building a toolbox, let's start filling it. First up are some models designed to help you act with speed and, just as importantly, with clarity. Now, here is a trap our brains fall into all the time. We get confused between what's urgent and what's truly important. See, urgent stuff, that's the thing screaming for your attention right now, usually coming from other people. But important stuff, that's what actually gets you closer to your real long-term goals. And when you mix these two up, you end up running around like crazy, feeling busy, but not actually getting anywhere meaningful. You know, President Eisenhower, a guy who was a 5-star general, commanded the Allied forces in World War II, and created NASA, he had a brilliant system for this. It's called the Eisenhower Matrix, and it's so simple. It just sorts everything into 4 boxes. If a task is both important and urgent, you just do it. Get it done. If it's important but not so urgent, that's what you plan. Schedule it. Now, if it's urgent but not important, find someone to delegate it to. And my personal favorite, if it's not important and not urgent, you just eliminate it. Get it off your plate entirely. But what about those huge, life-altering decisions? For those, we can look at a model from Amazon's founder, Jeff Bezos. He calls it the regret minimization framework. And the story goes, when he was thinking about leaving his cushy Wall Street job to start some online bookstore, he used this exact framework. He just pictured himself at 80 years old, looking back on his life. And he asked himself a simple question: will I regret not trying this? He knew deep down he wouldn't regret failing, but he knew he would absolutely regret never even giving it a shot. And just like that, the choice was crystal clear. All right, on to section 3, tools for seeing clearly. Because, making good decisions is one thing, but that depends entirely on perceiving reality correctly. And let's be honest, our brains have these default settings, these biases that can really mess with our perception. So let's look at a few models to help fix that. Okay, check this out. For centuries, everyone in the Western world just knew that all swans were white. I mean, it was an undeniable fact. Until 1697. That's when explorers in Australia found, you guessed it, black swans. And overnight, a belief that had held for centuries was just shattered. Statistician Nassim Taleb calls this kind of thing a black swan event. It's something that's totally unpredictable, has a massive impact, and then after it happens, we all try to explain it away like it was obvious all along. The key takeaway here isn't to try and predict the unpredictable, because you can't. It's to build things in your life and work that are robust, so that when the unexpected inevitably appears, you don't get completely wiped out. So why are we so easily fooled? Well, the Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman has a fantastic model for this. He says our brain has two operating modes, System 1 and System 2. System 1 is your fast, automatic, gut reaction thinking. It's emotional. It's how you recognize a friend's face in a crowd instantly. System 2, that's your slow, deliberate, analytical thinking. It's what you have to turn on to solve a hard math problem. Now here's the catch. Our brain is lazy. To save energy, it defaults to the fast, easy, and much more error-prone System 1. So how do we actually fight back against this lazy brain? How do we force ourselves to think better? Charles Darwin, of all people, gave us a masterclass in this. He wasn't just a genius, he was relentlessly intellectually honest. He had this golden rule. Whenever he came across a fact or a study that contradicted his own theories, he had to write it down immediately. He knew his mind, his System 1, would naturally want to just forget or ignore that inconvenient piece of evidence. He was actively fighting his own biases. Okay, next up, Section 4. Tools for solving problems. So, we know how to see things a bit more clearly, and that helps us break old patterns. But what do you do when you need to come up with something completely new? These next models are all about generating fresh ideas, especially when you feel totally stuck. Let's talk about a really cool one called Scamper. Think of it like a creativity checklist. It's built on a simple idea. New things are very often just remixes or modifications of old things. So it gives you this set of 7 prompts to spark new thinking. Can you substitute a component, combine 2 different ideas, adapt something for a new purpose, magnify or minimize a feature, put it to another use entirely, eliminate a part, or what if you just reverse the whole thing? And then there's first principles thinking. This is the model Elon Musk credits with so much of his success. See, most of us reason by analogy. We do things a certain way because, well, that's how it's always been done. Musk does the opposite. He reasons from first principles. When he wanted to build rockets at SpaceX, he didn't just accept their astronomical price tag. He broke the rocket down into its fundamental materials. What is it really made of? Aluminum alloys, titanium, copper. He calculated the cost of those raw materials and realized it was only about 2% of the typical price. And that's when he knew he could build them himself for way, way less. All right, we've arrived at our final section. Section 5, your first master tool. We've seen models for deciding, for seeing, and for solving. But there is one simple, incredibly powerful master tool that underpins all of them. It's a favorite of Charlie Munger's, and it's called inversion. This quote from Munger, it just turns the standard approach to success completely on its head. Instead of asking, how can I be intelligent, Munger says we should just try to be consistently not stupid. Rather than asking, how do I succeed, you invert the question. What would absolutely guarantee my failure? And then you just avoid those things. It's often so much easier to remove the roadblocks than it is to invent a new path to brilliance. So here's how you can apply this right now. Don't ask what will make your day great, invert it. Ask yourself, what would absolutely guarantee a terrible day? Not getting enough sleep? Junk food? Endless, mindless scrolling? Identify the things that cause failure and just stop doing them. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought. What's one stupid thing you can stop doing today?